All right, good evening, everybody. We are again. This is a. Does anybody know why you can't type in class? It might just be permissions. Hold on a second. I think I made it so that people couldn't type in there. Hold on 1 second. You should be able to. If not, just tag my name. Anything that you're asking, just make sure you tag me. So, all right. So this is a class, and it's not the full rundown, but it like on the Potterbox workshop. But this is going to hopefully help people get an understanding of how, when, and where I start to establish my trend. What I use to identify these sorts of things. Okay. If I do have an admin in here, I don't know if K-Bear's in here, but if you guys wouldn't, right here, let me see, connect, send messages, try that. This is actually live on YouTube right now, my friends, so this will be uploaded for sure. All right. Somewhere. There it is. Okay. All right, can you guys see that? I don't think you can. All right, so there's a few main components. Sorry about that, technical difficulties on the YouTube side. All right, so first thing, you guys want to make sure that you write this down. We're going to start with whatever we're looking for, and I'm going to pick, you guys can pick stocks. I don't really care. But what our goal with any setup is to establish whether you are going up or down, right? That helps you get into the strong side. So there's a lot of people who will clearly see that stocks are in an uptrend and they'll short them. Doesn't make any sense. We like to take positions that are in trend, so that if we're moving up, that's where we go. That's where we take our trades, and that's where the strength will be, right? So even SQ that you see in front of you guys, this is a example of something that would technically on the weekly be in range, but because it has yet to make it hasn't made a higher high, we could go ahead and say is in a downtrend, right? On the weekly. Now, how many times you've moved through this matters, because trend breaks. Trend channels are meant to be broken, whether they're going up or they're going down. And when stocks tend to go sideways, that's when new trend is oftentimes established. And there's a few key features that we highlight when we look for trend. One of the first thing is the mouth. Now, this would be something right here that we could highlight as a potential mouth. We don't have that information yet, but it could be a potential mouth. The way this works typically, right, is you'll have something of a significant new high. So if earnings, right, we end up moving up into this resistance and then falling back, that will establish, right? So it's a large fluctuation in price, major drop down, major reversal back up. And we'll go through a bunch of stocks. We're just going to look at mouths, right? So here's another example of a mouth. Right? Even though it is in a downtrend, you get a wide rip up and a 50% move down. Now, when that 50% of that move comes back down, it wouldn't be a downtrend unless you are, if you didn't go and make a new high. So you would have to go and move up into this mark. So having a wide fluctuation in price, this sets a stock typically into motion. And again, that can be up, big move up, 50% move down. I feel like some of you guys don't believe me. 50% move down, right? Top to bottom, 50% move down. This establishes a what? A higher high. So this, in this instance, right, we get a wide, long, exaggerated, and typically a good mouth is going to be created. I know there's a lot of you guys right now that just wish you had a soundboard right now, but you can't have that. But this mouth is typically going to be defined by a quick move down, right? And then a quick move right back up. You guys are probably twitching. And what this does is actually creates empty space. This on Tesla is empty space. It allows for that big wide fluctuation in price. So in this case, you get a big reversal back up. Instead of making a new low and creating a downtrend, which it tried, you instead bounce and move back up. And this, of course, establishes our uptrend. Now, trend can break, and when it does, it's typically going to be a pretty exaggerated or stronger move down. But even so, we'll move right back up to make sure that it retests whatever levels it needs to. So the first thing is the mouth. Again, a wide fluctuation in price. You get a big rip up, you get a big rip down. And that goes for the downside as well. Big rip down, big rip up. This is oftentimes described, or we can identify this as a retest, right? Big fat dump down, and what is actually happening is you're retesting this floor. As you retest, this is when trend is decided. You either get a strong rejection, they push you back down. Their job is to destroy that 50% hold. If they're unable to do so and buyers step back up, once you lose 50% of your gains, you either got to step back up and you got to hit it, or you're typically going to get faded back down. So this becomes a double tap. You get two retests off the top. And we pull back 50%. Now there is oftentimes where you can establish trend before it even happens just by identifying the mouth, right? This is why I showed you what I showed you on SQ. SQ, which I would have to do on the 24-hour time frame, right, is something that has been, like the stock we just looked at, we're getting a flat area where we're kind of oscillating, and we get really large fluctuation in prices or price. Now this also creates empty space both to the up and the downside. Now I can go about this one of two ways. Typically on a mouth like this, right, I'm going to go with whatever information I'm able to find. Because if you were to go look at that Tesla channel that I just showed you, once upon a time, you wouldn't have been able to establish that channel until that second bounce. And I do that. So when I see a stock pulling back off of a big rip, 50%, I start looking for where can trend be. Now, that's easy enough, relatively easy. And again, if you are looking for mouths or you're looking for channels, this is something that you should be able to identify no matter the time frame. And if you're doing top-down analysis, meaning typically if you find a new stock, you think it looks good on the hourly, you better check yourself and start with the weekly. The weekly trend rules all, right? Tesla, no matter how we slice it or dice it, is still in a technical downtrend, which, look at that. So, still in a downtrend. Now, is this completely maxed out? Is this a channel within a channel? Yes, that's how this shit works. Because if I was to take this channel, I could drop it down here. It fits there, right? This is how we actually double check our channels. If you weren't in the trend class, we like to essentially utilize, once we find trend, we can shrink these things into smaller deviations or smaller versions of themselves in order to verify whether or not we have the correct trend. We do. So that being said, right, Tesla, for me, for most people, would probably not really pick up until we actually saw, and this would also coincide with the level that it holds, which is this. This is where all things are decided for Tesla. This is where you fall. This is where you bounce. This is where you break, fall, hold, retest. So big area altogether. All right, so now that we've got the mouth, right, this is again a wide fluctuation in price, and if you guys would like, you can throw a couple of tickers out there. We'll go try to find those mouths. I don't care what the ticker is. I don't care if it's you're watching it today, tomorrow, this month. We could take a look at it and find, because before I move forward, I do want to show you guys some examples of how I would find this, because again, maybe sometimes when I locate channels, I can see this channel without even drawing it, but sometimes channels I can see because I see things like this, right? Which again, if you can't find the mouth first and you see this is going to help you find the mouth, right? The mouth for Google would be right there, which is technically this wide fluctuation or change in price. By the way, this was you guessed it, weekly punchback, meaning you got a weekly move out of that. You see what happens when it actually claims the floor, though, that it keeps rejecting. Tension breaks. So for Google, right, we actually get a flat bottom. You get this huge fluctuation in price. This is your mouth. And then, of course, verifying this channel comes from many points of contact. Easy to establish where this is inside of its channel. So let's see, what else do we got in S? Okay, so again, although very wide, this is a wide fluctuation in price. Now, funny enough, right, and I'm doing this all in the weekly, we're starting with the weekly, I can see the same phenomenon. Watch. Wide fluctuation in price. Change in trend. So that was a lower time frame channel. That was a lower time frame channel. However, this is the wider fluctuation in price and the lower low channel. And this would be the overall downtrend that you're in. Now, the full potential of every channel is not going to be met, right? This means that just because you break, again, if you have a box, that is always liable to go down. But in this case, if this floor, 7211, and obviously the 6950s, but if this is lost, because 6950 I think is coming from over in La La Land, that is was an imbalance on that candle. But if that was to be broken, then that would become the fail-safe, and then this would be your target, which pretty much falls in line with where you're at now. So anyway, wide fluctuation price. Now let's go. We got hut. Oh, this is hot dog water. Okay, so that's too wide. This means that something like this doesn't ever or isn't ever able to establish any form of control. It tries, but it doesn't, right? And there will be certain times where it does, and this comes probably from like low institutional ownership. I'm not sure what the details are on that one, but let's see. So while this is dog shit, It's still the channel that it was trying to make. And that channel comes from a wide fluctuation in price. But we don't always, nor would we wait for that, because if you were taking HUT, it would have been that. Look at the comeback down to cost basis. That's sweet. Then you get the re-entry right outside of 45.50. Now, for recent price action, right? This is something that is flat on the daily, but when you're flat, this is of course when it's actually your best time to come and try to find out where trend is. This is the best time. So I would go and look for a wide fluctuation in price. It looks like they're fighting to keep HUT out of the box or out of the floor. Now you can, and I will show you really quickly, you can lose control or fall out of your channels. If you're able to, it doesn't matter what time frame, if you're able to reclaim it, I can show you what happened on the Qs on the 3 minute. I don't know how I'm able to remember this shit, but I am. Oh, I lied. That was perfect. I lied. That was perfect. That was the whole channel. Now, what I was referring to is opening price control, which was established via that channel. I know that to be true, right? The overall trend was obviously in control. I didn't see it until now. I wasn't there. But reclaiming channels is a pretty powerful thing. When you lose a channel, it says that whatever control was lost, and typically it's a volatile event that drives volume in that would get you back into that. Now that's a major warning sign to get back into a control, into a channel for any seller. They're gonna fucking beeline. So whether it be the 3 minute on the Qs reclaiming that channel, or Tesla on the weekly reclaiming its channel because Elon bought Twitter. Now, is this an actual reason for everybody to freak out? Probably, because shit's gone really badly since then. But whatever. Now that it loses control, legitimately loses control. Upon doing so, everybody realizes at some point, oh, everything's still fine. Tesla's still a car company. Elon's still running it. We're okay. We're basically the exact same place that we've been. So with that being said, we squeeze up and settle. So the accumulation, the smart folks, right? They're going to come in on here and they're going to build on that structure, and then you're going to see the rest of that move out. So reclaiming channels, once a channel is broken, it's not always dead. It typically is disregarded, but if it's reclaimed, it's typically a big move. All right, so we'll do a couple more here. Easy. Fuck it, I'll do SPY. Yeah, so I actually already have this done. Yay me. Damn, I haven't even looked at SPY in a minute on the daily. Look at all this old junk. Looks like space junk. Okay, so this is actually a perfect example of wide fluctuations in price. Now you get the same phenomenon here with the wide fluctuation in price, establishing a mouth. This of course loses control. We dump back down to retest. Same thing here. We dip down and we actually end up tapping this little bad boy right here, and then moving back up. That also breaks. And so funny thing about trend is as it's coming down, your area to break decreases. So now the area to break, instead of being here, now moves down to here to this confluential wall right there, and that's 409. But you get a wide fluctuation in price. You get multiple points of contact. Now I will say, if you guys are like, well, we haven't touched the top, give it a minute. I think we will. That's going to be, I have 5, so we'll see if I'm right. 520, 522, 521, 520 area from here, like straight up. If we sideways, I say 525 based on the channel that I have in front of me, which I know to be correct. But do you have channels that probably are a little bit more compact at some points? Yes, those are meant to expand. You guys can see what happens. This lower channel actually falls back into itself. When it does that, it expands the channel, right? Typically from this point, and one of the reasons that we're seeing a big breakout from this point is we're outside of that lower channel, or that smaller channel. Now, there's going to be context clues when you guys are finding mouths on channels. Things like this are also things that we try to identify. 1, 2 taps. This is, of course, if we can find points of contact. And this is one thing that verifies our channels, is we want to be able to find and locate points of contact across the channel. So channel, points of contact, points of contact, point of contact, right? Point of contact. So all, even just skidding where we're at right now, skidding right there. These are all context clues that help me verify my channel. All right. Hold on one second. Oh, thank you, Cave Bear. You are the man, dude. That's just the best news. All right, perfect. Thank you. Amazing. That's great news. All right, so from this point, I'm going to go over these really quick. Hold on, where are we at? There we go. All right, so let's pull back here. Oh, am I going to share the news? Yes, we found him, boys. We got Osama. We got the guy who is a lifetime member of ADT. We found him. We took him out. Actually, I haven't taken him out yet. I'm waiting. That's it. What happened? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It might be lifetime members or PBS members. Yeah, we got his ass. We got him. All right. So, from now, or for now, everybody who is in attendance at the moment, can I get a thumbs up in the chat? Are we picking up what I'm putting down here? I want to even point out something really quickly to over here. So again, you're moving up, you're moving up. Fluctuation in price. All right. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions on mouths? Do we want to go over a few more stocks? Good to go. The mouth, same with empty space. What do you mean? Elaborate a little bit more. So I give you guys examples of this on the weekly. You might do better with examples even on the daily. So I want you guys to look. In any of this part, in anywhere in here, do you see a complete reversal in price, right? Even right here, that's not a complete reversal. Do you lose anything? When you start breaking down boxes, it's when you should start thinking, okay, hold on a second, right? Now we're breaking into, or moving, we have the volume to move through these levels below us. So look, up, up, big down, wide fluctuation in price. Do we see this here? No. Right? Do we see it here? Yes. Yes. Right? Same thing here. 50%. We see it? Now, this is one of those repetition things. What is my channel settings? Sure, I'll click on them. It should just be, now I would say change this. So if you're on the 24-hour time frame, you know, maybe keep it off the monthly, keep it off the hourly, you know. Well, this is the 24-hour. That's the shitty thing is actually, never mind, what am I talking about? Yeah, so you can adjust it, personalize it. So maybe do that, but it's just a regular channel. So, all right. You said, can we look at a UNH? Yes. Ugh. Okay. You know what though? This is an example. So right now, and I can't see it yet. I'm starting to see trend, but I'm not seeing it yet. So we're gonna find this together. I can see it now. Now I got it. So inside of a box, this is where I thrive when it comes to establishing trend, picking breakout targets, all that good shit. Because UNH doesn't have a bad setup right now. I can see this immediately. So you got a little punchback action right here, and that'll hopefully drive you up and out. But we see flat, we see a nice, now we're in range, so fluctuations in prices are going to be true. That doesn't mean that they're going to work. In range, you'll see a lot of that. So how does this help me, right? This helps me because eventually one of these motherfuckers is going to win. One of them is, right? Again, I want points of contact here. Beautiful, right? So typically, whoever wins will then encapsulate or utilize the whole range as the mouth. I made that sound like this is a National Geographic. And then the channel drinks from the water. All right. Get out of here. So how does this help me? If I'm looking, and as of right now, from what I've just shown you, just now, this is about where and I would place my channel. Maybe a little bit more up right there. And typically the full potential of that channel would be defined by this. Now again, how do I know I'm not just tripping balls? Points. Do we see this? Does everybody see what I'm seeing? So I'm not a fucking lunatic, right? Validate me. No, just kidding. Does everybody see this, right? We see these taps. The adherence, right? Even if I draw it back, go a little bit further, right? How do we know the channel will break on which side, up or down? So this is what I'm getting to here. I can now start measuring potential targets playing out now. now, because this is a setup that I would be looking at right now. I can't tell you that it's going to break, but I can tell you that it has some pretty decent setups, like a Potter box right here, and open and a push past 540, right? Where does it go? What does it need to break? Now, I do believe that this is all-time highs, right? It is. So, unfortunately, and this would be the only thing that I could do in this situation, is drop a mark. Now, I know damn well that most of the time you're not going to just rip straight up. How do I know whether or not that's going to be true? I typically go and look at the characteristics of that stock. Like, how does it rip? Does it rip, right? Does it utilize its Potter boxes?
No.
Well?
It just exploded.
So we have a box, we dip outside of it, we rip, and it holds itself together. Nice run. How can I factor that in? I need to go and see the same thing. How does UNH run? Well, right? Well, even in range, well, does good. So that's what I would be anticipating here is, and a lot of the times, I do this very often, ever so often, excuse me. I will go and measure moves, right? From top to bottom. And what I'll do, this is something that this is not in a book. I'm sure somebody out there probably has done the same shit. Measured moves, right? Using previous moves. A lot of stocks, the reason that people do that is a lot of stocks actually move in almost certain percentages. Specific stocks. Let me see. How do I make that go away? There. So I'll take a measured move, and I typically like to do it from the break. So there's that, and I'll go and measure it. So from the bottom, right? From the bottom, so here's a good example right here, there. There's like a measured move. And I can potentially, again, when it's at all-time highs, y'all, if we have structure, I don't need to guess like this. I don't need to guess. It's not even guessing. It's calculations. I'm using some numbers here. But the first anticipated move would be mirroring this or be looking at the 590s and 600s. But ultimately, I would be targeting resistance. So this allows me to pick targets inside of areas of consolidation before the channel is even fully identified sometimes. And what I'm doing is I'm looking inside of the channel for context clues on where exactly we could be going. Now, this is also true, right? In an area of consolidation, it's a war. It's back and forth. It's either consolidation or we're dumping shares, right? So this could still be in play. How do I know? A rejection off of cost basis would be in confluence with said resistance, and if it couldn't break, it would do this. So we can, and oftentimes will have to, utilize channels to try and establish price targets. BA, wide fluctuation in price, wide fluctuations in price, mind you. And then, of course, through our higher highs, are able to establish trend. All right. Now, you get the mouse, we got points of contact. Establishing whether a stock is in an uptrend or a downtrend comes with this naturally. Okay, so you should be able to naturally establish whether or not the stock that you're watching via just doing what I just told you is in an uptrend or a downtrend. So with BA, overall, I got to give it to the weekly. It's not good, but it is an uptrend. Just enough to call it an uptrend. Just enough. Now, that downtrend, right? And this is one that I've had to do some extra shit. So so this is complicated shit and not what I'm teaching you right now. But for BA, I can't establish from the top where my channel is. So the only thing that I'm going to do, or the only thing I can do, is use something structural. Right? And then from there, oh shit, motherfucker. I expand. Now this is one slippery but hard to deny channel. Long channel, weekly channel. I mean, this might be like the overall. I mean, and this is, again, we never went up and tested the 320s, which I think is just destiny at this point. And first of all, BA will not leave that. Like, we're not going to pink sheets. This motherfucker will go back up and hit that, and beyond. But anyway, all right. So I've heard you mention the punchback several times. What is it? A reclaim of cost basis after it loses the box? Yes. So I'll pause for questions real quick. Yes. So if you haven't taken the class, a punchback, whether it is up or down, is a box like so, and a candle close regardless of the time frame through the 50% mark. By the way, look at the candle that tries to reclaim the floor. Excellent. Okay, so I mean, in short, yes, that is a punchback. So falling back into this, no good. Breaking cost basis gives you a Gator Trader rectangle. You're fucking ridiculous, dude. What did you make today? You must have made a bag, bro. Do you ever go for wicks instead of bodies on the box? Oh, no. No. Nope. Tops only. Tops only. Look. You see how much that matters? I don't care about none of these things. Fuck them wicks. Bodies. I'm all about the body, dude. This body's a wonderland. All right. Not mine, the charts. All right. So let's see here. What did I say? Or what did you say? First solar earnings play this way could be. Yeah, that one looks pretty interesting. I think we have a big old channel on that one. So how do we know the channel will break on which side, up or down? So let's make this clear. That's in range. Now, if you're able to definitively establish that a stock is in an uptrend, you can do it. I've had people, and it's kind of ridiculous, but I have people who just try and short fucking anything that breathes. It's crazy. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's an uptrend or a downtrend. Doesn't matter. But with that being said, if I am able to, through points of contact, establish that this is the channel, you had better fucking believe that I'm buying the bounce. I'm not looking for the break. I play the channels till the channel gives me, or channel is done. So, and typically, you know, even if it is going to break, it's still going to bounce, right? So not every trade, if it's a shit stock or a stock that's not meant to go back up, but I'm still going to take that bounce. So for BA's sake, this would be a stock that if it dips down into this floor, I'm going to take that break or that bounce. So it's more or less, and this is what I was moving into, is establishing whether or not you're in an uptrend or a downtrend. And this is absolutely essential for establishing where you're taking your trade. Because my targets, like, and again, I have people who are dumbfounded that we are able to, like, you know, for first timers, you know, show up and they're like, how the fuck, you know, did we hit that exact price mark and then it just came right back down? Or our analysis is fucking fire. But my price targets come from being able to establish these channels and do top-down analysis. Because during the day, if I start on a weekly and I'm able to see that the weekly setup is firing off, right? And I think we just looked at a couple examples of that happening. This is the weekly. So with that being said, as a day trader, and god damn it, if not every single person out there, not everyone, but most of you, most everybody, me too at some points, obviously, we all go through this. Y'all have got to, like, be able to definitively say, this is the direction, right? Or this is where we're going. So with the top-down analysis, if you're not able to establish that you're going in an uptrend, or, well, let me back up a little bit. A lot of you guys need to know or understand that if you are able to find a weekly breakout, a weekly setup, a weekly channel, a weekly price target, you have just been given permission to trade that stock for a month, for 2 weeks. So rather than struggling, like, I think one thing that you guys will notice about me is that I stick to stocks, and I stick to them for like a month, and then I just dump them on the side of the road. I'm done with them. And it's at that point, until it looks good again or offers the same setup, I don't touch it. I like my analysis to start on the weekly, because if the Potter box is true, which you guys are either here to disprove that or you believe that and you're trying to learn to trust it. But if you do, then you know that it promises certain things. New highs, new lows. So if I have a weekly setup and my trigger fires off, or a floor is reclaimed. BA is a prime example of just flushing. You leave just, when you flush like this, you're leaving empty space, and the only thing you have is the previous box. So the previous box is in play here, and mind you, this is also a 2023 January, and then you leave that box in July of 2023. So you had like a metric long ass time of consolidation. That was a really educated way to put that. But with that being said, if everybody stopped showing up every day just because stocks exist and started showing up when weekly, daily setups started firing off, I promise that they would see better results. Especially for those of you who are and did start out, and no shame to you, we all did. You start out and you saw the videos of dudes scalping and making 40 grand in 10 minutes. And then, you know, having fucking their toes sucked in the sand and Lamborghinis falling out of the sky and shit like that. So if that's how or what type of trading you're trying to emulate, maybe you need to step back and look at, how does this market actually move and how can I take advantage of it? I mean, I just gave this example the other night because we did get a big chunk of this, and I know a lot of other people traded almost the whole thing. But just the simple concept, right, of understanding that, you know, right now, weekly wise, so this was actually a daily setup. You had a daily and weekly setup a long time ago. Box, empty space, SQ. This was a prime example of being able to establish that on the weekly, your floor was being reclaimed. The daily, right? Because empty space on the daily is space on the weekly. It's going to get filled. But you're able to identify, one, a floor reclaimed, closed on. Two, a box. This triggers you up. Once this box breaks, there's nothing to stop you. Again, it is this market. This would change. This would cause an uproar. an ADT, but I'm sorry. But it is box to box. If there's nothing there, you're going to go straight to whatever structure is nearby. This is why I tell people to look for empty space. What did we just talk about today on SQ? Where the fuck did SQ just tap? Again, I did say this was exactly my price target, which was $77. I had this mark right here. I did have the high $80 mark, but it was the median in this box, which is right here, and we ended up tapping. So we're right at 77. But what did we fill? Empty space. We filled it all up. It's all filled up. Now, SQ had better gap up above 78.60 because this is the exact point that we projected off and then completely flushed and dumped. A Lambo win. Man, get you a used Lambo, dude. Oh my God. I have to look at, I don't have the land for it, but I do want to buy one of those Kanye West trucks. I don't know the real name of them, but I know that Kanye West drives them. Look cool. I would definitely buy that. I just don't have the land for it. I just have it. I'd never be able, it's not street legal. All right. So did that make empty space too? The Lambo truck? What are you talking about? Yes. Yes. Now where is that empty space? There. So SQ's game, the game now with SQ, first of all, is to get the fuck up above 77.68. Like basically we can go and look and cheat a little bit. Look at this like universal wall. So the game now begins. This and this. Gap up above this, I'm long. We're going to 90s. Yes. So when you make big green candles, you gotta fucking hit the gas. The gas you can't let off the gas. Or then, what do you guys think is the risk now with SQ? Because we just got a wide fluctuation. This is a quiz for you right now. Wide fluctuation in price, but not a new high. What's the risk here? And how can I start to find it? This is a live example right now. You guys ready? Watch this. You guys are going to play. It's going to fucking blow your mind. Ready? Oh, my God. That's delicious. So, what happens if we gap up? Because we are. Pretend that's not there. You're going to open up right here. So if you do, now this does not mean it's true, right? Because we're overall, the biggest setup right now, or the biggest potential, is with this. And I like the double tap up there. Gives me some validity. But I think that you're at we'll call it the potential precipice. That means big cliff, big drop, big fall, when everything goes down, right? I just like using that word because it's one of my favorite albums of one of my favorite bands. And it makes me sound so smart. $78. Median on the channel, resistance on the top, flat overhead wall. So, by golly, when we get outside of the $80 mark, we should be good to go. Now, does that mean I'm not going to look left? I'm 100% going to look left, right? There's danger lurking, like right there, which is target 1. That would be the trader's call whether to take shorts. That would be the, what do you, so this would be the most advantageous place to take shorts. If you open price, let's play out a couple of scenarios here. If you open up price, say gap down a little bit, and you're right here, right? First of all, if you open up right there, I'm taking this to the imbalance, which is probably going to be, not probably, it's going to be at 73 bucks. I'm going to look for that to bounce and go back up and fill. Now that's going to be a tough, I mean, that's going to either drive shorts out or you're going to see weakness and you're going to see this thing get jerked back down. If you're going to go short, you want to go short when you drop back down. Or again, I would not fucking go in short if that thing opens lower than it is right now. Period. Will not go short. I don't care. I mean, again, if I'm dead ass wrong and it comes all the way back down, I'll take that. I'd rather know for sure and feel good about my trade than take some shit that I do not feel good about. Which is why sometimes y'all say, look at this, and I'll be like, looks cool for you, not for me right now. Because if I can't or don't have a plan, something set up, by the way, this channel on SQ, scary. It's just scary act. I mean, it looks good. Tap, tap, tappity, tap, tap, tap. And then we got the 1-2s. So yes, this could be an area that, and again, nothing happens in a straight line. I would assume that you would maybe even like try and wick out, but eventually you would get pulled back in. But even then, it's going to be a bastard to break underneath $70. So could target one be a short scalp with a tight stop? If this gaps down, I would take the bounce off the imbalance for the gap fill, and that's a scalp. There's certain things that I will scalp because I know they are. Gaps are one of them. Gaps are one of them. So, all right. Anybody have any questions so far? Excuse me. Nike needs to hit the empty space and stop playing. Tell me about it. But the longer it goes sideways, or whatever the fuck it's doing, what's it doing? Longer it goes sideways, the better. Now, question. Do you have... I just saw this. Oof. Now, what about my uptrend, right? Now, I'm a little... So I want to start from here, but it's not very much of a new high. You actually have a punchback setup right now on the daily. You wicked off of cost basis today. I'm going to go with my lows. So typically in an uptrend, right, there's going to be starting from the lows, and there we go. So this is trend one. Box. Box. That right there will be a prime example of expanding its channel. Because if it breaks, it's promising a new high. And if you break outside, let's just go and look at how this level has performed. Every potential target should get this treatment. What is it? Where are you coming from? Resistance, 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 resistance. Look, jolt down, hold, bearish, right? Jolt down, no new low, bullish, back up. You're unable to control. A little punch back there. Interesting. Okay, so now if this does break, it has got a wide, and this is something that I think on Nike, if you want, so this offers us, look, do you guys see that when I zoom out? Hold on, let me see. Do you guys see how small that analysis is now? Remember that. When you're too zoomed in, because it's okay to be zoomed in, right? If we're dealing with what the setup shows us now, and that gets us where we need to go, but remember, it's the overall bigger setup that rules the day. So for right now, almost off the swing high. Now, you guys are probably wondering why I'm not starting at my highs. And I could, like so, but that doesn't do me any good. At least not for now. One, it lacks a lot of context. we're not getting a ton of point of touches. So I don't like it. And this is me right now telling you, I wouldn't put this channel down, right? That's out. I'll find something else or step out. Go look at the weekly. Now, when a stock comes off of a volatile event, dumps, fully reverses, what is that? The mouth. Where it reversed up to is where I'm going to start it. That high. There. Check. Looks good. What happens when it loses a channel and dips back up? It rips. Perfect. Is that probably where this would expand to if Nike went bearish? Absolutely. Does it also have an uptrend? Absolutely. Does that create what traders like to call a triangle? Yes. That is exactly what creates triangles. You can see it. And triangles are bilateral patterns, by the way, if you're a pattern junkie, meaning that they go both ways. They can go both ways. There's no distinct, this is bullish. People like to say this is bullish. They're bilateral patterns, meaning that they can go either way. And what they're expressions of is indecision, right? And this indecision is actually both. It's less indecision for me, but a stock that doesn't have enough to be bearish and does not have enough to be bullish and is waiting to figure or deal with that data. And in the meantime, we're collecting and compressing. That compression will lead to the break. That break will come from the volatility that's given by whatever event that Nike's probably something. So they're going to say some shit. And it will drive volume into the stock. Something will happen. Again, this is just how the market works. And we will see some sort of release. This is, again, why I express my concern to people who use patterns. Because your pattern is typically something more structural and can give you a far more straightforward if this then that. So you said Val. We'll take a look at that. Wow, did that do that today? No, I don't think so. Oh, it did do that. Whoa, that's crazy. Did that happen afterwards? Or after? Because I don't want to be gloating about shit. That happened after I gave that analysis? Damn. I can't remember when I talked about this one, but it does look like... So this is a great example of trend and trend and trend and trend. Right? Wide fluctuation in price. Let's see what it looks like coming from the back. I don't like that at all. So if I don't like it, I'm not going to use it. My only guess is it's either going to or is going to or is fixing to expand. So realistically, Val. Now this is all lower time frame, but if I go to the weekly, that's where it just becomes super clear. I think one thing that is important to note is this stock is new from 2021. So with that being said, it's probably one of these stocks that is either A, establishing trend as we speak, which means that you're seeing wide fluctuations in prices, which then establish short-term trend. And so this would be an example for me of something breaking back into and then thus expanding this channel. Good coherence right there. And that would allow me to pick probably a more suitable price target on this chart. But this is one that you could look at it both ways. And they're both technically true. And that is That is consolidation. If you flip the chart and flip the candle colors. What? Yes, the longer it goes sideways, the better it cooks. Yes, the expansion out of contraction on heavy contract is good. It's good. Everybody, you know what? This is the crazy thing. Is there's like and I should just like fucking go buy a gold embossed book and like write all these things down in it. But if you just looked for stocks that are in range and consolidating, and then had them on watch lists with setups or triggers, alerts set up, those are going to give you your biggest returns. Those are going to give you your big returns, not following or finding something else that is already ripping. There's not to say that something that's already ripping can't give you money. By the way, I'm still watching EA. Oh my God. This is an example. This is a good example of price target picking. I'll go over that in a second. But if you just did that, then a promise, right? A promise is that after a certain length of time, SQ is a good example. It's got to pop. It's going to pop. It will not stay in that range unless it is truly turning. The only stocks that stay like that are barcode stocks with no institutional ownership and just top dog water volume. P. All right, everybody follow me here? I feel better now, thank you. Thank you. So this is a good example of a stock that, is kind of tough. If you're trying to go and zoom out, and because it's kind of tough to establish range or establish trend, it's one of these stocks that I'm actually looking at as, okay, you made a big rip up, you dumped way down. And since then, and since recovering that same high, you have not gone anywhere. But you did have a wide range. And that establishes, this is actually pretty cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is probably the longest consolidation zone of all time. But when I'm placing leaps, and I'm trying to pick accurate targets, this is how I do that. And what I envision is basically looking at a previous breakout, and playing it out about the same way, right? And this is oftentimes how I pick my targets. EA Sports, $200. $200 would be a suitable target on a leap coming out of this size box in this length of time. This is 2018, y'all. 2018 to now. That's ridiculous. You could have raised a whole family. Not all the way through. You could have started raising one. All right, so when we're looking for channels, folks, we are starting on higher time frames, looking for the mouth, looking for direction. This is going to help you establish the trend top to bottom, and this is hopefully going to direct you to taking the right trade for that chart. And just taking the right trade because you know that if you're playing a stock that's in an uptrend on the weekly, it's probably best for you to not short that shit. And I can't tell you how many times. Rewind the clock. Y'all have all shorted supports. I shorted supports and got fucking liquidated. So that shit doesn't change. A leap is a leap would be exactly what I'm describing to you now. It's almost this like trying to buy equity with options. So for this one, I don't know if I would grab $200 strikes, right? I like target-based shit, but this would probably be one of those things where I target like the ones. I'd look for something price-wise, 170s, 180s, going out like to fucking December, or even maybe further. But this is like basically buying equity and letting it sit. But we have fire ass analysis, so we're able to pick targets pretty well. All right. Still think the SC is going to $40. So let's see if we can find something on SE. Now SE, I think, is one that I did kind of hoot and holler about for a minute, and it hasn't really. It's in the middle of performing. I kind of lost sight of that one. But there's a, hold on. What is this? A wide fluctuation in price. Right? So, how does that help me? Now, I want everybody right now, if you're in this class, two things about this chart. Why do we like this chart? What's one? In the chat. Guys, imbalances are never going to be something. Oh, okay. Make sure. Yeah, space. If you're talking about space loopy, we want to space, right? Empty space. There we go. It also provides a rest stop, right? What does this provide, guys? What does this provide for us? When we're taking a trade, we want to be able to locate what? A target. That's right. We want a target. So how do we target? The bottom of this green candle. Stop overcomplicating shit. Bottom of the green candle. Bottom of the green candle. What is that? $54.50. $55. Suitable price target. Great place to trade. If SC, and what are we looking for right now? Now, obviously, this is either A, we're going to see SC wick out and then get pulled back in, and SC is trying to build. This is something that will happen when consolidation starts, but you're building a box, a big one, really big one. And this could go on for a lot longer than currently you see. And that would probably start by wicking out, touching the first green floor, because you're already fucking with this one. It's this one. See that wick? See the bottom of that candle? Weekly floors. Listen. Weekly bottom green candle. Remember those words. That's how you pick your targets. What? Is that real? How does that work? Is that real? How is he in here? Oh my God. Cool, Nikolai. I didn't know that was even a thing. So we have empty space with market willing. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This seems like one of those deals where Mara, whatever, that's my target. I don't know what y'all doing. That's my target. Why? I'll tell you why. Because when I look at things play out, right, I look at the full potential. So there's two or three, right now, this is how I take this trade. And again, I want to be open outside of 46.50, especially the 48.50s. If that's okay, and it's granted, first stop, right? Now, I want this to punch through. And if that punches through, what else do we got, folks? Empty space, right? Cost basis, $81. If that punches through, I get that. So take that trade when the trigger fires. And again, you're going to be able to pick, typically, if it's a good trade, you're going to be able to get strikes that don't cost a lot of money. And then
And then, this is why we are able to do what we do. When that expands and it rips up there, you get value. You're getting IV. You're getting all of that good stuff. And here's the thing. If we decide to take this trade, right, at the $80 strike, 81.50, the thing that's different about me, that's a little different about TTI, is I'm going to take the trade lower. Why? Because I just had, or in the middle of, punching back right now, and there is space from here to here, and there are shorter expiration contracts. I can use those, because we're at $44. This is a $10 move. You could guys, anybody with a fucking calculator can calculate how much they could potentially make on that trade. How much you could put into it, and where your stop loss needs to be. This is the most straightforward, I mean, I'm going to say this just about this. There's probably a dozen of them. But this is as straightforward as it gets. If you are thinking anything else, you have fear problems, or you're dealing with fear, and that's something you're going to have to mitigate. You got to trust this shit. I trust this strategy, guys. It makes me fucking twitch like a crazy person when I talk about it. Because I trust it. If I didn't, I wouldn't be able to do this. And here's the reason why. Because if that's the diet math, that's right. Here's the reason why. If I take my trade on SE, right, and that happens right here, I know that my stop, or what happens, and I'll show you what happens. I know what happens when sell walls get broken back into. Sellers take control. Do I want sellers in control of my calls? Do you want sellers controls on your calls? I don't. So no. So why is that a good entry? Because it's a good exit, which then mitigates your risks. So half of you who are like, well, I got more time on my contracts, but your contracts expires, maybe 6 months out, but you're down 70 or 80%. Why'd you do that? Time on your contracts is not a stop loss at all. You're just scared of not being able to get back in because you can't rally the courage to do it. And that is a part of, a lot of the times it's hard to take that first position or position, or take your position. And it's fear that keeps you in it when it's losing and when it's winning. Or that's what gets you out when you're winning, and what keeps you in when you're losing. So what time frame on options would be looking at? So this would likely happen on a Monday, starting the week. So Monday, I would probably take that week's contracts. I would take if it was a breakout here, I don't know the prices on any of it, so I can't say. But theoretically, I would be $50 strikes if I had it my way, and $55 strikes. One, to get the profit I'm looking for into the imbalance. Oh, earnings? Wee. Say what? Do we have an SC ripper on earnings up into $81? I need somebody to record that shit so that way I can post it. It's going to be on YouTube, but I just don't like clipping it. I don't like going back. It feels very egotistical. All right. I'm also just a lazy marketer. All right. Everybody kind of picking up what I'm putting down? Everybody feeling good about what I'm talking about? I'm not losing anybody. If you feel like your question's stupid, put it in my DMs. I'm going to go scroll back and make sure I didn't miss anything. When will I upload this recording on YouTube? I believe if one of you guys would love to check, go to YouTube right now and tell me if you see the stream. And if it's on there, then it will be on there. Yes. Yes, it should be. It will be on there. SC was the easier example for me. Okay. Well, so let's take what you just said. Everybody who is newish, or if you're just starting my strategy, if it doesn't look like this, leave it alone. Leave it alone. If it looks like shit and you think you might get hit, leave it alone. That was beautiful. That was a haiku by me. I wrote that in eighth grade. Why are you making that face, Peyton? Don't make that face at me. She's done with my bullshit. She doesn't care about none of my skills, dude. She just ignores me. Dude, if you learn how to do this, Peyton, we're fucking... I'm letting you do this for me. I'll do the chores. You can be creative, and this is just like art. This is art, Peyton. Peyton's an artist, so she doesn't think what I do. My kids think I'm learning stocks from Harry Potter. That's pretty cool. Fit a Wingardium Leviosa your account, homie. All right. So where would you put your stop loss if I get in at 45? I would set my stop loss at the top of these red candles. If the reason that you got in is invalidated, get out. I'm telling you guys that most of you who hold things too long, you just need to do it once. You need to break the ice. It's your fear, right, of it bouncing and reversing. Y'all are in a different system now. And if you're willing to dive in and utilize the system with the way that it's supposed to be used, then you don't have to worry about being reversed on. Most of the time, if anything, it goes up and then it comes back down. Unless it's cart, and then it just hurts for a while. And then it feels good. But especially those of you guys who are new, you should have a straightforward setup, and be able to definitively say, and yes, on SE, if the reason I'm getting in, so say that, right? The reason that I'm getting in is because I can see that sellers control $46, then why wouldn't you get out when it comes back down? Because you think and you don't want to accept, a lot of you guys just don't like to lose, and I get it. I'm a competitor. I compete with the mirror. I'll fucking truck a 5-year-old if it means I get the dub. I'm just kidding. Nobody's gonna let me play football with their kids ever. Like Garrett's playing a pickup games with the kids. We're not letting our kids play. But I mean, I'm competitive, but not enough to be, because this is money. Nobody gives a shit if you held and then it went red and then it went up and then it went green and you got big balls because you held and I didn't. Who gives a shit about any of that stuff? Nobody does, because at the end of the day, your bank account's the one you're going to be screaming your name or hollering or rejoicing in the effort that you put into the market. So what's that say? Oh, thank you, Poppy. I get scared when I get messages that say, can I ask you something? Is there a link to buy a monthly subscription not advertised on Discord? No, there is no monthly subscription at all, ever again. No more. No monthly. There's no reason. I'm just getting fucking $100 from you, and you're getting a month. That just doesn't make sense. If you're gonna be here and use our system, learn our system, you should probably be here for more than a month. That's why the Potterbox Workshop includes fucking 3 months. So you get 3 months to learn the system, ask me questions, and then decide whether or not you want to stay or make the money and then stay because you made the money, which a lot of people do that. That's my goal. All right. Maybe. Yeah, I'll look at it when I'm done. I'm not going to look at it right now, though. All right. Everybody good? Just checking the messages. Hate losing. I don't let my kids win shit. Yeah, man. That's going to build the yeah. Got to get that competition in them. Yeah, they've never won Mario Kart. Peyton got mad at me one time. I was like, I ain't letting these kids win. Ayo then came back and beat me, though. So it's good. Yes. No. If you buy the workshop, you will always have the workshop. That is a raw. I couldn't charge any more for that because I didn't have. It's not like your quintessential, like, printed out, pretty, like, well rehearsed. I'm teaching everything. I mean, like, I'm taking questions in the middle of it. If somebody asks a question about something that's a little bit unrelated, I'll go off for 10 minutes and talk about it. So it's not super structured. Not all of them are, or not say that value's not in it. It's just I am working with the people. It's a live workshop, and with the workshop, I'm working with these people so that before I move forward, everybody's kind of understanding what I'm saying. So, but if you get it, yes, you have it forever, and you have access to all of the classes that I've done. But I will be making a new one. Well, not a new workshop, but I'm taking all 3 of those workshops and I'm putting it together and making a dreidel out of clay, and then we're gonna do a different one, and it's gonna be a little more pretty. All right. Anyway, all right. So we got trend, right? We got our mouth, which helps us establish that trend in trend. I think we also went over confluences here and how to pick targets using our channels. So our targets within our channels are going to come from the structure, our boxes, our floors that run into them. So again, to repeat, SE, $81.50, that's my earnings target. Now, if this goes to that target on earnings, this is exactly what the fuck I mean by if you see a setup on earnings. And yes, if you're wondering if I'm going to take this, yes, I am. I already have allocated money in my mind to take this. And I already took SQ today. I'm a little scared though, because it wasn't enough. I said I wanted more and I need more, but it just went up to resistance, which is not my favorite thing. So, all right. Would you get 55 shorter out and then progressively get longer with your second? No, I would take it all at the same time. With SC, the way that this is set up, it is, and it looks like the 24-hour offers. Yeah, so remember what I said about that wick on the weekly? That's the wall right now. That's 47.50, 47.60. But above that, yeah, straight money. And no, I would not. I would absolutely just take both strikes. 80 tomorrow, if it does this and fills that volume up, prematurely, I'm going to take 81. Yeah, that's honestly, this looks so stupidly straightforward. I can't even. I just can't even. All right. So it's 7 o'clock. I will take any questions that you guys have. This was just kind of an impromptu trend and channel class to help you guys get familiarized. I think we're going to do this again. Same subject, but this time lower time frame. Because a lot of you who are struggling with intraday targets or intraday trading could really, really do with one of these bad boys, which would allow you to make the same sort of accuracy that I'm describing to you on the daily. It's the same sort of accuracy that you can nail down on the hourly. Sane P or whatever, Sane IP, do you want to come up and ask a question? Does anybody have any questions? So mouth, uptrend, downtrend, establishing the higher time frames, top-down analysis from that, right? That's where it all starts from. So again, we're in an uptrend. We're in a downtrend on the daily, but we're also at that third bounce. So we expect knowing how channels behave. So we're in a lower time frame uptrend. Look at this, guys. The same thing. If your stock is moving, it's under control. So being able to say today that you have, via this, you're opening up in a 15-minute hourly downtrend inside of a 4-hour hourly uptrend, you know which side you really want to be on. So there's a way to calmly, without confusing the dog shit out of yourself, step down on each time frame. You write notes on each time frame. What are you concluding here? On the weekly, we're in a downtrend. We're bouncing 1, 2, and we'll call that a big 3, right? We have a lot of empty space. We've got a 1, 2. We'll call this actually 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. This is in the same price. This is in the same area. I'm not going to say 3. That's 2. This whole thing. It would have to have left range and then come back up. I would have called that 3. It didn't. When a box is reclaimed and cost basis is reclaimed, is that a high? Yes, that's you're already past. So for me, Slingshot, my entries tend to be there, because if you are here at the floor, the first resistance is cost basis. If you fail, you come back down. Where are you going to bounce? Stop loss, because this is what is going to be defended and bounced off of. Period. End of story. So stop loss, entry, floor, cost basis, first target. If it comes back down, even 50%, I'm Gucci, right? Little build, pop, fine, right? Typically you want to shoot past that and come back down. Now this has earnings again, but this is just theoretically how that would work out. But yes, the punchback, or what I've called the punchback, happens there. So now you're just saying time frame. Well, would you take hourly? What about hourly? So you generally put your trends together than Potterbox? I mean, yeah, I mean, yes, I would say so. Sometimes, I mean, I've been doing this so long now, like, I'll see, if I see some shit first, it's like whoever comes first. Whatever comes first. So, if I see the box, well, then it gets the box. Damn, that's cool. But most of the time, I want to establish the one answer that can help me with where I'm taking anything is, are we going up or down? Or where are we at in that control? In this case, 1, 2, 1, 2. There's a pretty high probability setup to the upside. Otherwise, as far as from what I can see, if we lose this level, $25 and or maybe $29. So boxes, yeah, and I will end this with this. Boxes are, I don't know why you just left. Boxes are more important because trend evolves, changes, expands. It's a little more malleable when it comes to price action and all that good stuff. So it is the levels, right? Because at the end of the day, if I just had to say floor, if you were just relying on this, it would still be a highly accurate system. If somebody just, I mean, realistically, scalpers, if scalpers really want the bag, you really want fucking bags, and you want to show up every day and just trade for 10 minutes, look for stocks that are opening outside of range with empty space. Because you're going to get more than a fucking regular daily move in the range move. You're going to get one of those, or one of these, right? Or one of those. So, space. That's right, baby. So in your examples, your horizontal ray around the box you see in the current time frame coming from the other box. So I don't want you guys to get confused by that. Go with your most recent price action, always. But don't be surprised if that also piggybacks into something that you're doing now. With the Potterbox system, it is always the most recent price action that is the most important, because it all goes together, guys. It all goes together. You can slice it, dice it, do whatever you want. It all goes together. So, we'll take a look at Roblox really quick. So this is a good, you know what? This is a good example. You guys ready? Now, this is now, and I'm not going back over here, because we'll go back over here in a second. We do not have a higher high. That's plain to see. We do not have a lower high. That's plain to see. Right? Maybe that, which then establishes perhaps this. Right? Now, does it have validity? I'm going to find out. And I'm wrong sometimes, and I just moved my fucking channel. So, let's see how it does with a more aggressive downtrend. Like so. Okay, so seeing a lot more confluence on that one. It's a little ugly. Lets me know that it's probably a little bit more to it than what I'm seeing here. It's kind of ugly, to be honest with you. So see, whatever downtrend we may be in, it's ugly. There we go. That's about how I would mark that out. Right there. So you're at a floor. Is it up? Is it down? This would be my down. Now, here's my trick. Watch this. Don't have a lot of structure. Don't have a lot of shit. See that right there? That's a mini channel. That's like an hourly channel. Watch this. Cool. 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 Decent. Now, yeah, I couldn't find a nice channel on Roblox. It's not a pretty setup. It is straightforward. Look at the monthly. Look at this. It's war. Roblox war. I tell you what, that looks like. I just want to see. Oh. Well then. Oh, well then. That looks about like the most obvious setup of all time. Look at that. So, what you guys just saw me do right in there is straight up. That is exactly what the fuck I think happens now. Weekly. Good. It just looks firm. We got a pop, and then you're going flat and for ages. So typically before really nasty legs down, you get a, what do they call it before you die? Basically the same thing. You get like a little rally, and then this thing gets exhausted, and you're going to go up and this retest level and that downtrend, ridiculous. Yeah, dead cat, whatever. Yeah, dead cat bounce, I guess is what you call that. So 6460, and then guess what? This shit is dangerous because it's just sitting down there. You could punch down and go into negative 39. That's my target. I'm just kidding. That's not possible. It's definitely cooking. It's definitely cooking. There's something there. Now, on the weekly, no, I don't see a fucking uptrend at all. The only thing I could come off of is maybe that low, maybe this, and maybe that. But you know what? It kind of gives me the same damn target. So anyway, this is actually a good example of having not a lot and still being able to come up with a plan does it would so like I think this is what a on paper, you know, like kind of what a confluence would be, is when you are able to definitively, you could take that same trade, and if your target on a horizontal level is the same as your target would be on a dynamic trend line, that's a imbalance or a confluence. Jesus Christ. So, all right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. We'll go ahead and take these last charts really quick. I see some Walmart here. Ooh, already charted. Thanks, me. There's a wide mouth. Damn, did I really hit that? I haven't charted this in a minute. 24. Oh, you know what? No, I think I did chart it last week. Day, 24. I don't know why I didn't expand this a little bit more, but I do think that Walmart still has a target of around 190, 189.75 due to the channel. Due to channel. All right. I heard you say that you don't trade range. That is correct. So I show up, guys, a lot of the times, and I've been battling with myself for like years now over whether I should just be gone when I really am not going to trade, or I'm like sizing down because I think it's just bad that I'm here sometimes, because I think that just gives the impression that I'm going to trade, or that like I'm going full size into shit. Like this week, relatively, you know, I'll whip out the hotkeys if things shit starts cooking. And granted, the keys did rip. You know, I know there was a couple of good nights or good trades this week. But if I know that a stock is opening up, let's I'll give you this example and then we'll call it a night, okay? So let me give you an example of what I mean by in range, right? So let's say, and this is a wide range, so there was probably a lot of money that could be made, but just bear with me. Pretend this is not the weekly, it's the daily. If I'm able to say that this is the box above, okay, and this is the box below, and this is my imbalance. If we do this, whoop, right, and then back down, which would probably be a moderate earnings. If that happens, and you open up, like say here, you're opening up, and typically it's like, if I'm opening up in between the floor and cost basis, I'm not trading that, right? Like this candle, this specific candle right here, if someone was like, what do you expect out of SE? Nothing. Like straight up, there's no fucking setup on that. Is there a potential future setup? Yes, but you're not close, or nor would you need to sit there and worry about it. You never even tap that high. If we chart on the weekly and it's an uptrend, do we buy long for that week? No. It could be another 3 weeks until you hit support. That would be like me saying, if I see Roblox on a monthly downtrend, should I be holding a short for a month? Those don't correlate. Now, what does correlate is if I have a weekly setup, should I be going long? Because a weekly cost, and typically I do even like the number 3 echoes around here a lot. If I take a contract and it runs out on the weekly, or take a trade on the weekly, I expect for that to almost run for 3 weeks on average. 1, 2, 3. So if you chart on the weekly, you know, and your contract correlation should come from how long you expect that to potentially play out. Roblox is an example of a stock that I wouldn't suspect that it takes very long to get up there. They're going to make that move really fast. They're going to make buyers jump up, and then they're going to fucking bring it back right down if it's going to be rejected. This open, and I guess, yeah, so like this and this would be range. And if that's already been traded through, like say we hit this, rejected, came back down 50%, and we're right here, I'm not trading that. You know what I mean? Like, here's the difference. Let me make this a little bit more clear. I can make money and set stop losses on that and on this, right? It's pretty straightforward. Take your trade outside of the box. That's it. We move up. We hit 67.75. That's a great place. I can set my price target right here. That's actually 63. So 63. First target. I see it. I take that trade. It's straightforward. I'm able to place a target, and I'm done. You pull back, and you're 50 at the 50% mark. Okay, cool. Now you have this floor right there. You want to take a trade from 58, 56 to 51? Sure, there's money there. Guys, when I take trades, like maybe I'm a lazy piece of shit. I don't want to put that much effort into things. I want to be able to clearly state, like write it down, put it on a piece of paper. This is what I'm doing. This is my target. This is why. And not have to go into, and a lot of times when I give you guys analysis, this is what I do because you guys give me stocks and it doesn't necessarily have a setup now. It's just something that's going to have to get to A or B. And while it's in between A or B, I don't have any analysis for that. Can you explain the double bottom on Tesla today? What do you mean by that? Can I explain it? Can I explain why it worked? Like why a double bottom worked? And I say patterns don't work? Or what do you... Talk to me. I would argue that it wasn't a double bottom, it was actually a triple bottom we're talking about bottoms right now. Just why it happened, because you have a floor with no box. This has been a floor kind of universally. This is where Tesla goes down. Breakdown, fall, reject, fall, crash down, fall, try to get back up, but you can't, so you fall. So this is buyers stepping up, right? Just at a 192 key level. Now, typically, when we bounce, or if I'm looking for a bounce, I could also explain this from here as well, I think. Oh, we didn't. We actually hovered around that. That's right. I think I had tracked that being I deleted all of my analysis. That's right. So I tracked us being like right around here, which is kind of valid, but just when things start doing this and looking real ugly, I expect either A, that's some sort of channel expansion I can't see yet, or it's B, being invalidated. But you just hit a floor, 1, 2, 3. And usually if you're going to break a floor, it takes 3 times. Right here, red candle, 1, green candle, 2, red candle, 3. Here, 1, 2, 3, then you break. So it's just the nature of the game. What is really happening, and I can't. Again, this is actually a good example of opening up in range. You have a straightforward bounce, and again, there are trades here. There was a good trade today with a good bounce, straightforward bounce, and it's exactly why I took BA a couple of weeks back, because 1, 2. So this is actually another good example. Why did BA bounce here? Because there's no fucking box, and it's just a straightforward bounce level. And in order to get down below it, you have to extract the volume out of it. The way that you do that is by driving price into it multiple times, extracting those shares via bouncing, and then those bounces, if they don't result in anything, just weaken that floor. So, but Tesla just has the floor. It came back to it. There was no sort of volume underneath it. It was just this is a floor that is being held underneath, and I would expect the exact same thing. So if you ask me why it bounced at 189.50, I would say that's a bounce floor, period. And then I can't tell you how many people take this shit short. Like, again, at the floor when it goes to 189. I buy when we go to places like this, and I would buy, but
I can't take the full workshop until closer to summer. Okay. Well, whatever works for you, man. It's not going anywhere. All right, y'all. That's it. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the stream on YouTube. YouTubers, hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. This is Trend and Channels. We'll probably be dropping a few more of these later on.